I have. But I'm happy to be back. I'm happy that boxing's back. I'm happy to be talking boxing. And, we've got a lot of news and fights to discuss. So let's get it, Dave.
You know, First off, it's good to see you. You're back on. Now, unfortunately, Kenny was not able to make it today. Hopefully, we'll have him maybe next week or the following week. He's been really busy, still getting his things kind of back in order because the
Yeah.
city's been opening back up for you guys, right? Down over there on the East Coast.
Yes, it has. We had a stretch that was really rough for a while. I mean, there was a spell like right after we kind of went for a break where about 900 plus people were dying per day in New
Wow.
York City. And, even a number of people, mostly elderly people, but a number of people in my apartment building died of COVID-19. A friend of mine lost his father to COVID-19. Uh, so it was a really kind of rough spell here in New York City. But, summer's kind of here. Things are gradually picking up. They've opened up the beaches. They've allowed outdoor seating at restaurants and stuff. So I'm hoping that, things kind of get back to normal. But I'm also hoping we don't see a spike in kind of COVID cases as has happened in California, Texas, Arizona, and Florida. So, you know, you it's we're still not where we want to be,
No,
obviously.
no, no. I honestly do not foresee us getting back anywhere close to normal until probably maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of overthinking it, but maybe mid next year when we start seeing
Yeah.
things kind of getting back to where they're supposed to be. I'm not quite sure about it, but as of the moment, yeah, we're in a war among us and Americans. For some reason, we just can't see eye to eye on either political or racial issues that are happening in our country at this moment. It's kind of bizarre. We're living in a bizarre world, but hopefully there's a meeting ground that we can finally meet and kind of see that we're not going to knock this thing COVID 19 until we all are on the same page.
Yeah, and I mean it kind of goes without saying, but we also need a national healthcare system in this country.
Right.
We're 4% of the global population, but yet we're a quarter of the cases and a quarter of the deaths, and that all is because there's no national healthcare system that's stockpiling protective equipment, that's allowing people to get treated for no cost when they go to see a doctor or need treatment. I mean, at the beginning of the crisis, people were walking out of hospitals with 30, 40 grand in medical debt. Why would people go get tested under those circumstances? So a lot needs to change, as you said, David.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, and that starts from the bottom all the way to the top. A lot of people believe they don't have a voice. You do got a voice. You just got to speak up. Got to speak up, and
Yep.
you got to follow procedures. Help out as much as you can. You know. Anyways, you guys didn't tune into a political show for us to talk
No.
about our political views or not. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I wanted to catch up with Emil Carr and thank everybody that's actually been reaching out to me, asking me, "Hey, where are the guys, man? When is Leaving the Ring, the official Leaving the Ring, coming back?" Where we have all the guys on the panel and we talk some boxing. Well, you have two of us. Kenny's not here, as you noticed, but Kenny will be back. It's not that Kenny, didn't want to be on. Kenny just informed us that, you know what, he still has some things that he's working on. He's got to get his computer fixed. Something happened to it, right, Emil Carr? I can't remember exactly what the deal was, but that was the sole reason why he wasn't on today's show.
Absolutely. He's a very cool guy. He's got a very high-end computer system, and sometimes those things break down and need uh, kind of their spare parts, much like a Ferrari or Lamborghini would. So
And Kenny's
yeah,
got like
he'll
a
be.
Terminator computer too. So
Yeah.
that's really what it comes down to. What's up, Hamed? What's up, D Style? Thanks for joining us here on Leaving the Ring. Big Johnny Zig from Let's Talk Boxing here's is with us as well. What's up, brother? And then Psycho Boxing Fan, Watts, ¿qué pasó? How you doing, guys? We're going to open up the phone lines in about 15, 20 minutes. We'll talk boxing here on Leaving the Ring. You can call in 347-215-7598 here on Leaving the Ring. Don't forget, hit that like button and subscribe to us. Hit that notification bell so that you're notified anytime we're on live. Okay, let's get down to it, man. Amilcar, we got a lot to talk about. And
Yeah.
definitely since the hiatus of boxing not being back on the big screen, it kind of left everybody kind of scrambling to find things and topics to kind of muster up. But now we got some real topics that are actual real. Well, I don't know. Do I want to go that far talking about real when we're about to discuss, which is Deontay Wilder and the autopsy dent and the tampered gloves? I mean, is that really real, or are we talking kind of make America great conspiracy theories if we're going to bring up this topic?
It's difficult. I mean, you kind of have to discuss it, obviously, and take it with a little bit of seriousness because, it's the former heavyweight champ, and he's kind of providing more through his entourage, through his brother specifically, excuses as to why he struggled in the last fight. First it was the suit, weighing 40 pounds. Now it's the tampered gloves or, getting hit with a blunt object. I mean, to me, it's pretty simple. Las Vegas, has commissioners and has officials that watch people wrap hands. The opposing camp is allowed into the dressing room. They're always there. They always observe every stage of the hand wrapping and glove fitting process. There's a way that, he had loaded gloves. I'm missing something, David?
I think what it comes down to is that I got to agree with you first off about the accepting of a person, especially a family member. When I saw that that I don't know note or letter out to the public from Deontay Wilder's brother, stating that his brother spoken to a doctor and they had an autopsy, which they made no sense. It was an autopsy. You mean MRI? It probably performed an MRI, which is very common. He
didn't die, so it wasn't an autopsy. So I don't know why they said that.
That was weird. And I think I don't think he was making it up. I think what he just missed word because he didn't use the word MRI or CAT scan. Whatever they did with him, just to make sure that his well-being was okay, what they got. Now, the whole, dent on his head, I don't know. I guess my only question is that how many months after is this being brought up? Like, why wasn't this immediately brought up? This is something that would have been big news. I just feel that they don't want to they don't want to accept the fact that Deontay Wilder was outsmarted, outskilled, and something that a lot of us knew that was going to happen sooner or later. In this case, it happened. He was going to lose because of the lack of skills. I wouldn't say lack of discipline. I don't think there was no lack of discipline in him showing up to fight and wanting to fight the best. But there was certainly a lack of discipline in learning the craft to continue or stand on top of being the best. Man, my nose is itching.
Yeah, I mean, I've been beaten up. I've been beaten up inside a ring. I've been beaten up inside the schoolyard. It's not a nice experience, but
no, it's not.
I mean, it happens. I mean, anyone who fights enough people is going to take a loss, at least at some point. I mean, he got beat up and he also got outclassed and schooled. So I guess in the deep recesses of his brain, he's trying to conjure up reasons why that happened. But, the reason why it happened is because he was facing a guy who's much bigger than him, who also happens to be faster and more skilled, and who was actually physically stronger than him, despite the fact that he doesn't have the same right-hand punch. So, I mean, it all led to him losing and him getting hurt really bad. And let's also forget that the other excuse, too, earlier on was his trainer and trying to blame him for pulling him out of the fight when, so it's been kind of a series of excuses. And to me, it tells me, at least from a psychological standpoint, that Wilder is not ready for a rematch. Because if you cannot accept your loss, understand why it happened, and then move forward, how is he going to game change and game plan for the next fight? To me, it doesn't bode well for Deontay.
I don't want to get too much into the tampering of the gloves because we do have Ernesto Gabion from Everlast, who's worked with gloves for I don't know how many years. I would have to let him let us know how many years he's been in the business of doing that, as well as now he's working with Golden Boy. But he's going to come on next week, and we're going to pick his brain about how these gloves are made. Could the horsehair be pulled out? How much a percentage of horsehair is in the glove with any type of padding? Is there a slight chance that Tyson Fury's team, the legendary Kronk Gym, could have tampered with his gloves to maybe hide a foreign substance in the gloves, or have bare knuckles hitting Deontay Wilder? Now, like I said, I'm not going to entertain the whole thing the way a lot of these Alex Jones boxing community channels have been doing, podcast shows have been doing, just because the fact there's an easy way, in my opinion, of resolving or finding out the truth, in my opinion, Amilcar. And that's like going to the guys that work with the gloves. They tell us.
Yeah, well, I mean, that one point where they were actually alluding to his trainer's past connection to him as being a reason as to why he pulled him from the fight. I mean, we could literally perform a stand-up comedy routine based just on the excuses were made for this loss. I mean, it's actually hilarious when you actually put all the pieces together and try to recreate what's going on.
What is next? He had a size smaller of what he originally wears of shoes out in the ring. That's why he couldn't move around as well. I don't know, man. There's so much other stuff.
Right? And look, he's a very charismatic guy. He's actually quite funny too. The funny thing is, I was rewatching the whole thing with Radio Raheem the other day, where he, obviously was quite enraged by Raheem's question. And I mean, it's comedy gold. You could watch that thing 100 times and enjoy yourself repeatedly over and over again. I mean, he definitely does bring that kind of entertainment factor. But personally, just for him, I don't have anything against Deontay. I actually like Deontay. I just think it's a really bad look. Like, just looking really bad right now.
I want to say that Deontay Wilder is a great marketing person. If he's able to make, maybe, I don't know, create these stories, if he is, with team or his team alone creating these stories, but having the help of the some of the YouTube boxing community, to continue still pressing on these conspiracy theories is a great market strategy. Make some fire to help out this third match, because I think it's too soon, too early. I'd have to agree with you, Amilcar. I think it's too soon, too early for Deontay Wilder to jump on this. I thought maybe should rest up, regather his bearings, then get back into that ring. Rewatch that fight, not 100 times, 200, 500, 600. Till this day, that's what I would do with him. If that was him, that's what I would do. Till this day, keep watching that tape to see the mistakes that you did, and what you didn't capitalize, and what you left outside in the ring because you didn't bother to discipline yourself to get more, to gather more skills to face very crafty Tyson, Fury Tyson. Those are the things that I would say that he should do. But like I said, this other stuff that's kind of being thrown in the mix, it's a great story if there's really one there. I don't see it. I haven't found it. If there's any truth in the story of any tampered gloves. Guys, if you want to call in, certainly can weigh in on what you guys think about this here. Are we not Alex Jonesing enough here on Leaving the Ring? 347-215-7598. Let's talk boxing. Chicano Prophet, what's up? Renee, what's up? G-Funk, what's up? Everybody that's joining in, what's up, fellas? Hey, let's talk about Mr. CVS himself, Baby Miller. Again, caught red-handed here, Amilcar. What do we say to this guy? What do we say to him? What do we say to the boxing commissions? What do we say to the Alphabet Group? What do we say to boxing in general about not really punishing these guys, not reprimanding these guys fullest, allowing them to have a slap on the pinky or finger when they do get caught, the first time, which he had what? How many? How many? I can't remember the amount of PEDs he had in his blood system the first time around.
Well, I think it was three, and then there was a fourth one. Very unfortunate. And, on a personal level, my family's from the Caribbean. I'm very proud of my Caribbean heritage. My handle on Twitter is obviously Caribe. And actually, people in my family are quite close to Terrell Miller. One person particularly kind of a member of his camp for an extended period of time. And, it's so upsetting and, dare I say again, embarrassing. I mean, you got caught 3 times. As far as I know, this is the worst case of drug cheating shot in someone. I mean, 3 different PEDs, and then I think we know we're 3. And you're under all of this scrutiny, trying to come back. You just got a license, I believe, to fight.
Right.
You know that people are going to be looking at you with a serious lens, and you take supplements again. And then when you get this interview, you want us to believe that there's some legitimate reason why you had this substance in your system. It's quite sad. Someone could throw away a fight with Fury with Joshua AJ that was going to pay him so many millions of dollars. He owes money from that fight, according to Eddie Hearn. He was going to have to pay back Eddie Hearn out of his purses moving forward. And now he doesn't have a fight, and he may not even have a career. It's honestly, I speak as you do, David, and you get to a point where you don't even have words to describe how ridiculous the situation is.
It's almost comical. It's almost like he got away with the bag of jewelry. He robbed the bank and he got away with it. They caught him and they let him go. We've seen that numerous times where the cops had made a mistake. They pull over the right guy and then they go, "Oh, okay, it's not you. Go ahead and leave." Baby Miller was in position, and it just kind of shows, in my opinion, which I've been screaming and yelling about for years.
Yeah.
Boxing loves cheaters. They love the wicked. You could be Andre Ward, or Robert Guerrero, who preached the Lord, embrace religion, try not to say bad things and try to be an upstanding citizen and, somebody to look up to, right? And boxing fans will completely shit all over you for that.
Yeah.
But wear a black hat. They will scream you out for the brief moment, whatever you've done that pissed them off. But then quickly, after 3 months or so, they'll dismiss it. It's like almost amnesia. They're like, "Oh, what did he do again? What happened?" It's our affair with the corruption of the sport is all I could say about us. I know I'm talking about all of us. I'm guilty of it as well, But
everybody likes a villain. Whether it's Shakespeare, whether it's Hollywood, or whether it's professional wrestling, you need a villain a lot of times to sell the entertainment. Guys like Jarrell Miller, I guess, can fill that need and satiate that appetite. But you know what? This is beyond that. You get into drug cheating like this on this level, and you're literally talking about putting people's lives at risk, and it's beyond the pale. It's not Mayweather throwing money at a strip club.
About Baby Miller is that I'm with you. I really like him. I think he has the charisma. I think that the gift of gab he definitely has. Once the camera's on him, he knows how to form the right words to say to get you to go I want to see this guy fight. Okay, I want to see this guy get in there. He accepted the villain role, and when you get a guy that's willing to accept that, and then with Adrian Broner did with his career, and that's why so many folks are like, "How is this guy getting another TV date?" Because he embraced something and he held to it. That was his gimmick. That was his costume. He wasn't let go. What Baby Miller, what now gets underneath my skin with him, is that not only did he accept it, but he thinks we're dumb enough to believe everything he says. Like D-Style just said in the chat room, he can't even come up with a good excuse. You know why he can't come up with a good excuse, guys? Is because he thinks, oh, they fell for it the first time. They're dumb enough to fall for it again. The only thing that was missing with that interview that he did, and I wish I could remember the guy's name, I could give us credit, because he was the only one that was able to get that interview with Baby Miller immediately after the press release of him again popping. The only thing that was missing was him eating a candy bar or sucking on a lollipop like he did last time, whatever he did. Okay, I say get rid of him. He doesn't have the discipline. He doesn't take this sport serious. That getting caught 3 times the first time in a car, that to me is like it's like okay, shit, I got away with it this time. I shouldn't try it again. But he was willing to do it again.
It's crazy too, right? It's like a lot of people think that Jarrell Miller is African American from Central America, and he gets his big opportunity, he blows it. Ruiz steps in, obviously Mexican American, big opportunity, take it, and then in the match, it's like guys can't help themselves. And people who are trying to want to root for a Mexican, a Central American, and a Caribbean, it's it's very tough to see this. But they just have to say, look, they did it, they are, and accept it for what it is.
Exactly. I'm with everybody right now. I call for the ban. I don't want to see. I don't know why.
Nah.
It is the same time. I think the first time a drawn out suspension, not a 6 months, not 6 months, not even a year. It's been drawn. It should be something so heavy that it would make every guy thinking about injecting himself, doing anything that was not the guidelines of what you're supposed to do on fight night. That would say I'm not going to even attempt it. So I apologize if there was a bad feed on Blog Talk. It's not our end. It's for whatever reason. So I apologize for that. But yeah, we're on YouTube. You guys, if you're listening on Blog Talk, head over to YouTube. You can see me in Emil Carr. You can see Emil Carr's new little, got the big old man. What the hell, buddy? The little.
Yeah, I might need to trim it at some point. My aunt saw it for the first time last week, and she was not impressed.
Oh man!
So when the T tells you that you need to shave it, sometimes you have to listen and put that under consideration.
Tell me about it, brother. But yeah, I'm with everybody. Baby Miller.
Yeah.
I think he needs to get out. I think it's done. I honestly think it's done for him. It's. I even said this about. Remember when Top Rank signed him on the milk card? Remember I said, like, what are they doing? Like, why would they sign this guy right now? What would be the purpose? I mean, the only purpose would be is because if the Deontay fighter didn't, come around when that deal done, they needed somebody else for Tyson Fury, and Baby was the guy. But now, at the moment, you wonder what Top Rank. What's out on the wall to hear what they're saying in the office of Top Rank?
Who do they have? They have Fury and they have Love.
Yep.
Right. I mean, any other top heavyweights, so all continuously cross the fence or cross the street, or whatever the analogy is, to find an opponent for Fury. But Fury brings in enough money, I think, at this point. And he's got ESPN there. I think they should find opponents for him, especially with AJ out there wanting to fight him, and I'm sure a bunch of other people as well. So they just have to take care of business, and Fury with Wilder, AJ with Pulev, and possibly AJ with under Usyk is WBO mandatory. But the heavyweight team definitely has enough talent right now. I don't think it's gonna miss Jarrell Miller.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody should miss Jarrell Baby Miller and stuff. Usyk, what's going on with him? I know he is the man, but man, you want to talk about drawn out layoff here? It's not his fault in terms of what's going on with COVID-19. I think he was ready to go with his fight, but I haven't heard much about him, and I don't see a lot of folks mentioning him at this moment. I don't know. If I was Usyk, I would be on that worry side at this moment. I don't know about you, or the rest of the guys tuning in right now. I would be a bit worried that my guy's been staying too long. I mean, training or not training, it's not. Yeah. We still don't know how good this cruiserweight could be as a heavyweight. I don't have a clue yet.
Yeah, and the dilemma that there obviously is that they want to wait for the AJ fight, but then, like you said, you're out of the ring, you might get rusty. It's difficult just to jump up cruiserweight to heavyweight like that with another operation. But then, do you want to take the risk and take on some level below that? who's an accomplished heavyweight, and risk loss and risk the shot at AJ. So I think from a financial standpoint, they're going to do okay because I'm sure he will be offered step aside money if AJ handles Pulev and decides you have to throw a few million his way and during the fight. But then at that point, I mean, how long has he been out of the ring? It's a tough thing in terms of keeping him sharp and active.
It's a very tough thing when you watch everybody have a dance partner and you're left out there leaning on the wall and not knowing if you're ready to take on the best of the best in the heavyweight division. I'm interested in what's happening with all heavyweights. Honestly, when they do get back into the ring, AJ and Pulev is an awesome fight. It's a great example of taking the first step, fighting one of the top guys in the game. It's going to answer not just what was left, where we were left off with AJ off his last performance against Andy Ruiz, was not a very, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for, Milcar?
You in terms of AJ Ruiz?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a good fight. It just wasn't exciting. It didn't leave you with the feeling of you just watched a great heavyweight fight. And if you're a guy who was pulling for Ruiz, I know we're supposed to be unbiased here, but I was actually hoping Ruiz would show up in shape and show a good game. Well, the word I walk away with is disappointed. I was disappointed for Ruiz and just for all of the people that were kind of supporting him, hoping that he could be what we all thought could be, as opposed to him being what he is, which apparently is a guy who can't be disciplined and who parties between fights.
Let me see if I could pull it up really quick on computer here, because I get a lot of emails from our leaving the room, and I try to answer back as many as I can to folks.
Yeah.
I always promise that I'll bring up whatever topic you bring on. That try to touch on it. This was something that, let me see. I got some of them highlighted here. Alberto from California. I promised you that once we got back on the air that I would talk about this here. Hey guys from the ring, long time listener. Guys, what do I think about the performance of AJ? I'm going to kind of skim through and break it down really quick. It's really long what he wrote here, but I really believe that Deontay Wilder could have beaten the AJ that we saw up against Andy Ruiz that night in the rematch. What are your thoughts and what do you think? Am I crazy for believing that? No.
No, I
was going to go right ahead. Go for it.
No, it's not crazy. I think that the word that Kenny likes a lot, which I use as well, is honestly that Deontay Wilder would have watched AJ. AJ fought scared. He did get touched, and every time he got touched, he refused to engage. He didn't want to fight on the inside. He wanted to fight on the outside. And guess who also doesn't fight well on the inside? Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's only effective on the outside. And that entire fight, AJ was within range of Deontay's bombs. So, also, if you look at that fight, AJ did not fight like a confident boxer. He fought like a disciplined boxer, but a boxer who was constantly worried about engagement and obviously hurt. He wasn't walking down Andy Ruiz the way a guy I grew up idolizing, Lennox Lewis, would have walked down Ruiz. I mean, only imagine what Lennox Lewis would have done, the version of Ruiz to fight AJ. So again, I'll double down on my disappointment tag. I actually was disappointed in AJ as well because I felt like he really made a statement in the comeback. He didn't. And to me, bode well for his future. And I agree. I don't think he would. I think he would have struggled a lot with Wilder. But now the new Wilder with all these excuses, now that's a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever we see from AJ against Pulev is gonna it's gonna make a statement, or we're gonna be still left with the Jesus. He just wants to survive and stuff. Again, another email real quick. This is from Zigzag 408 out of my hometown, the San Jose Bay Area and stuff. You guys have always been always above the curve on BD topics. Any chance you get in that first fight with Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua is that he could have been on any type of substance. Any thought on that? Look,
Who? Ruiz
Ruiz,
or
Ruiz,
AJ? Or
Ruiz.
Ruiz.
So they were tested. I mean, here, look, I don't want to get too much into the PEDs things, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. When I decided to come back on Leaving the Ring, and this was when me and Mil Carr were discussing doing the show together with Kenny. I remember I was like, don't go on this whole PED crusade anymore. You know, I don't want any of that. And the reason is because I did on I'm 8 years of PED, making stories. My last co-host and partner at the time was doing a lot of legwork on PEDs. And you know what I just figured out is a lot of folks kind of run with it for a short bit and then they run off. I'm very happy. I think I'm going to leave it for the new guys now that get it. They take a deep dive into the whole PED situation. But answer your question, Zigzag 408 out of Saddle. No, I don't think Andy Ruiz wasn't. I'm pretty sure he was clean. The thing with Andy Ruiz is discipline. This is something that's been, kind of known. If you've watched his whole career, or if you've been in the boxing circuit in Southern California, and you know people from Southern California, you would know that he had a stigma of not showing up. It was always very hard to keep him in the gym. It was always very hard to locate him. Tom Bragg had him, Abel Sanchez had him, and so on and so forth. People have had, and they've all cut ties with them because of the discipline factor. So the best Andy Ruiz is what we got. The hungry Andy Ruiz is what we saw against Anthony Joshua.
He was hungry for the wrong reasons.
Right.
He ate food hungry.
Yeah, so that hopefully answers your questions. I don't know. If we continue to see more PED stories fall, I don't know. I might start dipping my feet back into it. But at this moment, I think I've said enough. I think my work has said enough for you to know where I stand with this. And I think a lot of people are now catching up to that curve. And now they kind of see what we've been talking about for many years. And that they're seeing that it's a problem. It's a problem in our sport. And it's even more of a problem if we allow these guys that get caught to only get like a very minimal, it's almost like they're doing community service. You're giving them community service for 6 months. We're not giving them a big slap so that it echoes down the hall so that everybody else, every student of the game can hear this slap and say to themselves, oh shit, I better not do that.
Yeah. I mean, the punishments, at least in the United States, are just not effective. I mean, they have lifetime bans and have not really seemed to want to do that in the U.S. I don't know if it's promoted influence there or just, the government or the sanctioning bodies, but the local folks until there are lifetime bans for this kind of behavior, there's really no incentive to not do it. There's just a general in the United States of, if you repent and you go on television and you talk about sorry, people always will be willing to give you a third and a fourth and a fifth and a sixth and a seven and eight. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just not taken with enough seriousness. And it's not only boxing. I mean, if I can know, I mean, a track star was recently, Christian Coleman was discovered to be on PEDs as well. So, I mean, it's rampant across a lot of sports. It's boxing.
No. I wonder if Ryan Garcia's tweets are PEDs, man. That's what I want to know. I think somebody needs to get in the bottom of that. Anybody out there on that case, find out if Ryan Garcia's tweets are on PED, because, boy, he does have a lot of air in that chest when it comes to using those social fingers of his, getting on the Twitter platform there, Emil Carr.
Yeah.
What's going on? I mean, are we going to see him, Luke Campbell, go at it? Or is he going to take that WBO route, decide to kind of skip away from that and use that as his cover-up of not getting in there and facing somebody of value?
I think it's too early for him to take on Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell might be one of the unluckiest guys in boxing. I mean, he's an Olympic champion.
Yeah.
But he's just in a division that's stacked with high talent. And he's gone after a titles that were held by really high level boxers and lost. I mean, a moment ago was in this decision. He was fighting him very good, and obviously had that decision with Norris. He beats most 135 pounders, and at this point in Ryan Garcia's career, I see Luke Campbell handling him just in terms of his experience. He's not going to be intimidated or outboxed by a guy of Ryan Garcia's level, not at this stage in his career. Luke Campbell's still in his athletic prime. He's obviously a master boxer. Yeah,
very much in his athletic prime enough. You know, I mean, this is some folks like, you know, what is your issue with Ryan Garcia? It's not so much an issue. My thing with Ryan Garcia and with any fighter that uses social media platforms as a tool to market is that if selling something, you finally got to sell it. You finally got to deliver on your sale, right? You know, if you're going to provide a service, you finally have to show up to provide that service. And Ryan Garcia is using this in any way to gain more followers, to gain more leverage when it comes to negotiating for more money, which is more power for you. I'm all for that. You got to deliver the goods, you know. And the whole thing that now comes across, if a new line from his management or even from himself, Ryan Garcia, is that I need more experience, or this not the one, or I'm not getting paid enough. Look, if you're pounding at your chest and it's being delivered to you, you gotta eat it. You don't sit back without even trying it, you know? And Ryan Garcia to me is just this kid right now that's losing a lot of credibility as a fighter, not as a social media star or whatever you guys call them and stuff like that. I mean, if there was a TikTok bout, there was a Instagram bout or Twitter bout, I mean, I'm pretty sure he'd be the undisputed. But there isn't. Where you get a bout and where you obtain a bout and where you get the respect is that. And I don't see him doing any of that. You know, I see him passing everybody that dares to say, hey, I'm going to get in with you and trade, you know, leather with you. I'm just very baffled by how on the level of patience that Golden Boy own. This is really showing a professionalism of Golden Boy, because the earlier time Golden Boy, they kind of went off a tantrum and I'll be very open. The very new, kids on Golden Boy would have been really quick to jump on social media to kind of like tell their side. They're now kind of reserved and allowing this kid to kind of bully them to a corner of what he wants. It's very strange.
Well, the problem is very big promotional company right now. One, it's come to pay their fighters less than the other pros. And two, you know, really they have Canelo, who's fighting out right now, and Garcia. And, you know, now he obviously has the ear of Ryan Garcia is probably telling him, look, you got to kind of flex and get out of Gold War while you're in the position. And so, you know, honestly, I just like to see the kid in more fights. I always thought that the Dent Devin Haney would be very interesting. The Gervonta Davis fight would be very interesting. The Luke Campbell fight is a very interesting fight. I just don't think that
if he takes it.
If he takes it, yeah.
If he takes it.
And then he's also mentioning other things that people talking, like Francis Ngannou from the UFC being able to beat Wilder. I don't know if I do, but I'd actually be interested in seeing that fight if it ever happened.
At this point, I'm interested in seeing anybody worth a while to get in with one of the best. Kudos to a UFC Masvidal fight. Getting in with the kid that beat up, I don't remember his name, the kid that got in there and beat the shit out of the Make America Great kid in UFC. That was very fulfilling. Masvidal is a good fighter, and now their announcement, I'm a bit jealous. I got to admit, I'm a bit jealous that they're getting a marquee fight, and they're continuing to make much better fights. I'm at the level, even though ESPN and Top Rank have been throwing as many fights as they can with the smaller cards on ESPN for us, which all haven't been so great. I'm thankful, thankful. But I think after this month has ended, we're in a new month. I'm now at that point where, like I'm jonesing for a good fight. I'm jonesing for something that is mouthwatering for Okar. Am I wrong about that? Should I just be content with what we're bringing Gibb right now?
I mean, yesterday I watched a bunch of fights. Watched Kevin Kelly, Prince Nazim Hamed at the Garden. Bringing us and watching them. Honestly, all that interested on right now in these television studios, kind of like the minor leagues. It's a time when, I did watch it. It's almost like when there was a lot of boxing and everything was going on, you kind of wanted to watch everything.
Right.
But now,
yeah,
I don't have what I really championship boxing. It's like psychologically, it's like I'm giving a big F you to the television network because I'm like, this is all you got? I'll just watch the old stuff when I'm in middle school, high school, and college and whatever. It's not a good. It's a good time. I hope that it does pick up, and I was happy to see the Top announced it on the few at December the 19th at in Vegas, and that Rodriguez put it in the Raiders Stadium, and but instead of have 80,000, we put 20,000 in there. His listings. I mean, I would go up for that if it does happen. But until we get a big fight, and the one I'm looking forward to, there's the first, the White Pavilion fight. I'm excited about that one. I'm going to definitely watch. And the other one is the Joyce Daniel Dubois, which apparently is going to be happening as well.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously taking in the UK.
Dubious.
Yeah, as Kenny calls him, or used to call him Doobie, but he doesn't call him. He doesn't call him that anymore. I think he's shown not Doobies. But yeah, those are going to happen pretty soon. That I'm excited about the most.
We're obviously going to talk about Canelo sweepstakes and why nobody taking it. Why doesn't anybody want to be the winner of taking Canelo sweepstakes? Then we're going to talk a little bit about Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. Is it going to happen? Is that the big next fight for us? Even though that Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury has been in September at the new LIITR Stadium in Las Vegas, which I would be very excited to go to because the tickets are going to be cheap. I think everything's going to be cheap out there. Just to
the hotels are going to be cheap. I'll tell you guys one thing. I'm going on a little vacation right now. Throwing away room, neck nothing, all inclusive. It's like the vacation market, the travel market right now is like imploded, and they're doing anything they can to like fill rooms. So it's. I'm sure that it's be an affordable right to attend when it happens in Vegas.
I'm just nervous getting on a plane. I'm gonna tell you I get nervous getting on a plane because every time I get on a plane, I normally fly 2 to 3 times a year. Okay.
Yeah.
I got meetings I got to go to, et cetera, right? And every time when I land my destination, I'm okay. I'm fine. I think it's because after my first meeting, I go out and I go party my ass off. I think like I'm 20 years old, and I enjoy myself, go to a steakhouse or a seafood place and just, gorge. But then I fly back, right? Mm-hmm. I get home and it's like work. 3 days after, dude, I either catch the flu or some shit. I'm too close to somebody because I don't ride like first class, so I don't have that extra elbow room. You know what I mean? I'm right next to somebody else that's my size, and I'm like 190 to 200, So I always get that screwed luck sitting next to 250 to 100 pound guy, and I'm almost like sandwich in between somebody. I never get the window for some reason. I never get the fucking window. You know what I mean? And or I'm like outside by the aisle or elbow. I even have my elbow hang out off because you always get that one big student with that her body, big old ass that swings by and she almost takes your not just takes your elbow, but she takes your whole shoulder and shit. You know what I mean? So
you don't like that?
What? It all depends. I didn't do that, but I can't on my elbow. Okay, a milk card. That's the problem. I can't on my elbow after. I can't do the scratch the snip. But I always get back and I'm always sick. So I already know.
I will say this, David. That I went to recently.
Right. Yes.
On a one like rock bottom all-inclusive deal, and one thing is the plan making you wear masks, which is good.
Oh.
And the airports are all requiring that everyone wear a mask, and what the planes are doing each other unless like you're in the same family or whatever. I think the mask thing is ineffective. But I definitely understand understand your apprehension, and you know, the
Yeah.
COVID cases may pick up again in the fall. So who knows what it might look like in December? I just hope things clear up. This again, I would really like to attend in December the 19th.
D Style said all Mexicans are flying in on the plane, Dave. Very true. That is very true. I went for 4th flight. I mean, obviously, it's not the same as you going to you know, Cancun to the beach and all that. I went to Monterey, and I was really man, I was so hesitant, you know, but my family wanted to go, you know, because we haven't been anywhere. So ever since the whole lockdown situation, because my wife works, she's one of the essentials, you know, first responders. She does work with the COVID-19 patients. So my wife's like, you know, she didn't want to do anything. But this time she was like, hey, let's go to Monterey. Let's see how it looks, you know, because if anything, we wanted to go for the drive, right? So we got to the beach, dude, and there's nobody, literally nobody at the beach. I saw that on the news, like on CNN, saying like, oh, the beaches were overcrowded. And I was like, what beach? Because the one we were at, it was empty. Like there was literally maybe 30 families, and everybody was like 30, 40 feet apart. It was phenomenal. Yeah. So we take off our mask, and dude, like, we were swallowing all that salty sea air, and it was the first time in, you know, 50 years. It was like Tom Hanks in that movie, you know. I build fire. That type of feeling and stuff, you know. So it was great. It was phenomenal. But anyways, let's get back to boxing. Not about fears about flying and face masks or whatnot and stuff. But okay, so Canelo sweepstakes here, Amilcar.
Yeah.
What is the deal? Am I the only one that's kind of puzzled how everybody is kind of skipping off away from Canelo? Like he's got COVID-19. Like nobody wants to get in the ring with this guy. Everybody's going to negotiate because get the highest paid your day with him, but everybody's saying no at this moment. Am I missing something here? Am I missing 101 or what's up?
I can't explain it. You know, you fought as an amateur, never really question the heart of anybody who gets into the ring. And I would never put it on the boxers. One thing that I usually look at is like the businessmen and the business interest behind the management and all of that. You know, they're trying to get every penny they can for the fighter because they bleed every penny they can out of the fighter.
Right.
And what they want to do is they want to like maximize on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, not just for the fighter, but obviously for themselves. So I think they've been driving the negotiation train that, you know, been just taking ridiculous places. And that as a result of that, you know, Canelo's been kind of left out in the cold because anytime he wants, whenever, you know, people want, you know, millions and millions and millions of dollars more than they've ever made in the past, probably multiples of millions. So it's pretty crazy. You know, Canelo's up in his career now where he really has to pay people, you know, life-changing, generational-changing money like it would a Danny Jacobs to get them in the ring.
But the difference with Danny Jacobs, though, is that Jacobs' resume spoke for itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you got in with Gennady Golovkin, Purog, Nopal. It wasn't closed in Monterey. I don't know why that reported. It was open. I was there. I even had pictures, bro. You know? Anyways, but I mean, when these guys are saying I want life-changing money, tell me if I'm crazy. If I was a fighter that got opportunity to fight Canelo, and I mentioned my management, hey, listen, I want life-changing money, but I know that I'm not going to get that crazy changing life money unless I do something that is kind of well earned, right? So why don't we do this? Give me the money they're offering now, which is going to be obviously 3-4 times more than what I obviously would make by fighting Joe, right?
Yeah.
Give me that money, but can we stipulate on the clause that if I win, we get a rematch, but you got to double the purse or triple purse. Would that be unreasonable?
No, it wouldn't be. It would be reasonable. You know, it's funny because what you just stated was exactly what White cited to fight Joshua in the rematch because he's okay. I'll take me in this fight. But I win, like I get paid, and they were like, nah, you'll just a little bit more than you did in the first fight. I think what you're saying is very reasonable. But, you know, I just think that what really has hurt Canelo is how much they offered and ended up paying you because you think his resume is, and I'm not going to dispute that. You know, Callum Smith has a very good resume. You know, Callum Smith won the, you know, World series. He's undefeated. He's got a ton of real KOs. You know, he actually is something that Danny Jacob is not. Like, he can sell tickets in Liverpool where he's
Right.
Should Canelo is a big, like, sturdy, stocky guy, but he's short. He's come up from, you know, just below 150 pounds. So, you know, I would take it, and I'm sure the fighters would take it. I just circle back to what I was saying before, which is that the business interests and the management are what often prevent these fights from taking place, unfortunately.
I agree and I disagree. I mean, look, whatever Canelo and them had offered Kovala or even Danny Jacobs, it's not Canelo's fault. I think, I go back to my stance of DAZN. I think DAZN and Eddie Hearn effed up by, you know, lost all this money that their budget had, $1 billion, you know, throwing up the high stakes of any fighter if they're willing to sign up with them. And I think that really kind of backfired on, because now not just fighters know what kind of money is in the savings in the bank account for them, but the management team, you know, they know. So they very well know that DAZN can afford give a little more, you know, generosity to their fighter if asked and pushed. It's now time for DAZN to kind of push back and be realistic of saying, we're not pay for this much. This is what's going to come down to. I think they've really hurt their stance of, you know, coming out aggressive, but it was overly aggressive. It wasn't. There's a smart aggressive and there's like a very stupid aggressiveness. And to me, they took the stupid aggressiveness strategy than the right business aggressive strategy, which is not reveal all your cards at once. You got to play poker right. They just didn't play poker very well in announcing what they had in the pocket.
No, they didn't play poker well. They actually were the guy that went into the Las Vegas casino, you know, flashing his dough and becoming a sucker, and
Yeah.
you know, everybody took advantage of. And now, you know, COVID's hit. The zone is losing a tremendous amount of money. I can only assume because they're not putting on. It's not fights now. They're not putting on a lot of fights, and I'm sure there were a lot of people who have canceled the auto pay and are no longer watching the zone until this thing, you know, resumes back to normal. So it's, look, boxers have to unfortunately take a little bit of a haircut in terms of their pay, and their business interests are realize that, you know, you might have to take some short money now for the long-term gain. And if you really believe in your skills, obviously as a boxer, and if you really believe in your fighter as a management person, sometimes you do have to take risk. I mean, we're not asking Fernando Vargas to take on Tito here. You know, we're asking highly experienced, who've got, you know, tremendous resume to take on Cole Alvarez.
You know, I mean, it almost kind of wished that the Golovkin fight would just happen after all. You know, with all the money not being accepted, I'm not getting paid enough to get in with Canelo. They're trying to set me up to Canelo talk. I'm just so, like, I don't know, over it. I want to see something happen here, you know, and I agree with anybody that says that Eddie Hearn made a whole mess out of this. I think he did. You know,
Yeah.
I know that there's the Eddie Hearn cult that love to email me and tell me to shut up, just like the Top Rank cult. But I mean, guys, I mean, if there's shit on the wall, I'm gonna call it because it stinks. There's no way of avoiding it, you know. And I smell this.
You know, Paul Boxianos has a good point. He said Eddie Hearn sabotaging things for Canelo as well. He's making the GGG, Billy Joe Sanders, and Smith fights hard to make. You know, I agree with that.
Yeah.
He made an earlier comment as well, which is that Bivol is pretending he'll take less money, but the fact that he's pursuing a Canelo payday means it's still a lot of money. So, you know, you're going to get paid highly if you take on Canelo. Let's face facts. You know,
dude, Bivol, I mean, look, it goes back again is that it's still life-changing money. If you're getting paid $1 million, and I'm not even sure Bivol has ever got $1 million, okay? I don't think he has.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. You know,
I'd be surprised if he has.
Right. Because even if, let's say if he even gets 700,000, okay, he's still not getting all of that. He's got to break off to everybody that's part of his team and his management. Okay?
Yeah, management, taxes,
Right.
the training expenses.
Exact. Yeah, all that, right? So let's say $5 million. Dude, $5 million sounds pretty good. You're still walking away with a good, what, $2 million, $2.5 million, in your pocket. And like I said,
you're speaking to a public school teacher. Like $5 million sounds fucking awesome.
Right. You know what I mean? I mean, so whereas talk about the case of somebody chirping in your ear and giving bad information, Ryan status, okay? Because that's exactly where Ryan Garcia is at, getting a lot of bad misinformation of what to do with his career, which is staying stagnant because he's not doing anything with his career. Okay, he's doing everything for his image, for the pops of the world, but for the boxing heads, we're gonna soon forget. And that really kind of goes with the other fighters, the Smiths, the BJs, who are blowing us off.
Did you mean to say that?
Yeah, I meant to say that.
That was a good one.
And honestly, BJ Saunders shouldn't even be getting this fucking fight. Shouldn't even be getting out. We talk about cheaters. He's one of them. So
Yeah.
glad he's not getting this fight. Hopefully he doesn't get this fight. We don't know. Eddie Hearn for some reason happens to have a soft spot for the kid. Which
we have a question here from Psycho. Did Derenko turn Canelo last year because he won? I think he did, and what I've heard is that actually Derenchenko is going to be taking on Charlo, which is also an interesting fight. But yeah, everyone sees Canelo as a cash cow, or the goose that laid the golden egg, and it's unfortunate, but it's leading to a lot of these fights not taking place.
It's going to be leading to somebody that says, I'm just going to do it. It's going to give them that world. It's got to come down deep of legacy, and that's where a lot of fighters, in my opinion, are hurting themselves now. That so many of them don't want to fight for a legacy. They want to fight for the almighty dollar, which is perfectly fine. Why you're called a prize fighter. But
yeah,
of the Mount Rushmore of fighters, you're not going to be up there. You won't be remembered as that.
Yeah, again, we've got a comment here. Again, I've got to agree with it. No Pao Boxeano and said, I think that after the Kola fight, people are afraid of getting knocked out. And I guess there's that aspect of it too. But, I agree and I disagree. I don't think fighters are really concerned about that. I think their management is. I mean, you've got to be a special kind of person to get into the boxing ring and get to where these guys have gone to in their careers, even more so. There's probably an aspect of it from the manager's perspective. I think that they're just kind of trying to rinse Canelo for all they can.
Psycho boxing fan, Bato Loco, lives forever. Yeah, you're right. Team Canelo did come back and approach him for 168. That's why Dermonchenko is saying Charlo at 160 and then Joe to 168 for that big money fight. Because to me, fighting Charlo, if he beats Charlo, which has a very strong possibility beating Charlo, it only ups that status and it brings more to the table. Going back with boxing management, the new age of boxing management, the way things are now being constructed, because a lot of it's now being used as like they're using the social platform as leverage rather than the actual resume of what you've done in the ring. To me, it's really hurting the sport, okay? Because you're getting these managers and they're coming in, and what they're trying to do is create this formula of what Floyd Mayweather Jr. has created, which a lot of them are skipping a whole big part of Mayweather's career, which is he put in a lot of work to get where he was at. And
they want to be Money Mayweather. They don't be Floyd Mayweather.
Exactly. And there's a process to it. There's a very great, tremendous process to it. Jose Ramirez out of Fresno, California, his management guy, I forgot his name, man. He's going to kill me because I was bullshit with him on Twitter here and there. He does a fantastic job with Jose Ramirez. He's always trying to get fights. If he's going to be fighting Victor Postal, he got Maurice Hooker. I mean, he was going for the Progress fight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy is willing to put his guy up with anybody. He's saying that Timo Lopez was talking smack And he was like, "Well, we can make that happen. That's not a problem. Top Rank wouldn't have an issue making that fight happen." So, yeah, he didn't join the World Series boxing tournament, but he's kept this guy out there fighting really good fights. So that's what I think management guys need to do. They need to find their way to keep their fighters busy. Because where they grow in fan base wise is in that square circle. It's not outside. A lot of that stuff doesn't count. Yeah, I mean, if I'm one of these little titty popper kids and stuff that get excited because you retweeted me or you liked what I said or you responded to something, I guess that's okay. But I'm a fight fan.
Can I get a retweet, David?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I want to see. I want to see the best fight best, or at least attempt to do it.
Yeah.
At least the guys in the back in the days that got in with Mike Tyson that didn't even punch, they fell flat on their backs and acted like they were hurt by rolling over and over. At least they got in the goddamn ring. These guys are not even doing any of that. They're like 50 miles away from any nearby, ring that's upstanding. Crazy.
These fights were made, but luckily we have a few fights that seem like they're on the horizon, and that, I think, as boxing fans, we can be somewhat thankful for. And I'd like to know what the Dylan Povetkin fight did. What do you think?
That's a great fight. Dylan, how much shit does he get?
Jeez, I know, seriously.
You know what I mean? I think anything that Dillian Whyte does right now, I got to be on Dillian Whyte's team. Give me a t-shirt that says Dillian Whyte because, dude, WB's been fighting this guy from the get-go. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. So, and what's always interesting is that he has this number one position, which is sometimes a mandatory and sometimes he's not willing to lose it by taking on top guys. Povetkin is a dangerous fighter, as are most of his previous opponents. Joseph Parker onwards. He's taken on top quality guys.
Right. And
I see this. Yeah, go
for it. No, finish your stop.
No, I was just gonna say I think this is gonna be an exciting fight because when you get two guys whose strongest is arguably left hook, that oftentimes leads to exciting finishes and exciting conclusions to fight. And by that I mean KOs.
And you know what? That's where we're at. We need something like that. So I think with White, he's got to make a statement. Which it leads me to wonder, when you want something so bad and you're in the gym all the time and you're working on your craft and he's not a chisel guy. He's never going to be a chisel guy. That's not White at all. Okay. But when you're a guy that has been waiting and wanting and been kind of jerked here and there, my only concern is that everything that you mustered up, was it left in the gym? Is he gonna bring it in the ring? And because all the buildup can really be busted before he even gets under those lights, which counts. So that would be my only concern. Because the frustration later becomes being vulnerable. Because you kind of feel like there's justice. I finally got what I want. I'm here. Blah 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 blah. Nobody wanted me to be here. I'm here, but is that the end of the road? That's going to be, to me, that's going to be the more interesting part, is what he does with that situation, with the time that he's going to be given. What is he going to do with that? Because for me, it would have to be a major statement of Milcar. I don't know. Am I wrong? I think he needs to come out and just...
I think he does. Right. Because the very last fight he had was against Marius Wack. And, they were both looking like, honestly, they weren't looking like elite athletes.
No.
Say that to be kind. I mention this often, but I'm a phys ed teacher. That's what I do, is a 9 to 5, and I've always said to myself, if I'm in better shape than I are in the ring, there's a problem.
Right.
And they both look like it really bad, and obviously that fight won't
12 rounds, and someone who is where Dillian White believes he is should not honestly be going 12 rounds with Amarius Wack. We understand why. You know, he was out of the ring for a number of months. It must have been stressful being under the scrutiny of a PED investigation, which was eventually cleared.
Right.
But like, you're absolutely right. He needs to come back. He needs to make a statement. And if he do it against Povetkin, who even at the age of, what is he, about 41 now?
Right.
He's always dangerous. I mean, that KO he landed, the KO landed on David Price was deadly. And he's going to be an exciting opponent. So, you know, it should be a good fight. Dillian White needs to make a statement. And after, you know, if Dillian White, you have to move on to a title fight because it's the first one. Apparently, the WBC has said that they're not going to elevate Tyson Fury or Wilder to the, I can't even remember the name of this bullshit title category. What is it called? It's not Diamond. It's not.
No, franchise. The franchise. No, it's not franchise.
Is it? The franchise. It's. But they're not champion. Honestly, though, how dumb is a franchise champion?
I don't even.
Is he a McDonald's, a Burger King, or a Wendy's? I'm confused.
Well, he did look like somebody that could have been a representative of McDonald's in his last fight.
Yeah.
But
so we'll see how it goes.
Price makes everyone look deadly, D Style said here. John,
right about that.
Yeah. Johnny Zig, oh man, unfortunately, you know what I noticed? It isn't Blog Talk. It's my internet feed. So even if you call in on Skype, it's going to screw up everything. Because right now I could see that me and Amilcar are still kind of choppy. So I apologize to anybody that was trying to call in. And it's just really bad Blog Talk feed. So we're just not going to be able to take any calls. This is our last subject here. So it's going to be kind of a short show, short and sweet. Kind of like some of your guys' love lives out there. So don't worry about it. You're used to it. Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. Oh, man. I hope that fight happens, bro. You want to talk about a Major Woody? That is one right there to save Iran. I got one for it. I hope it happens. I see a lot of folks I saw in the chat room were just saying that, Lopez is going to blow out or knock out Lomachenko if they do sign on and get that fight going. Tess further with us, saying it's going to happen. I'm hoping it's going to happen. Who are you riding with on this one here?
Well, I've been hot and cold on Teofimo Lopez, to be honest.
Right.
He looked spectacular in his last fight. I was honestly expecting that fight to test him more than it did. Richard Comey.
Jesus, don't remind me of that.
It was twin brother that showed up. I mean, it didn't look like Richard Comey. I'm sorry. I mean, it was, but and what's
it was more like Richard Quete, right hand.
I mean, what's crazy too is the fight with Nakatani. After that fight, people were saying, "Oh, Teofimo's been exposed." This guy in rounds, and like, it's a guy that goes 12 rounds. Hard rounds, mind you, with Nakatani. Sorry, I think is his name.
Nakatani.
Masa Nakatani. Masa Nakatani.
Right.
Does a guy who goes 12 rounds, hard rounds with him, run through Teofimo Lopez? I don't think so. Sorry, not Teofimo Lopez. Lomachenko. I don't think so. I haven't seen anything in Teofimo's record so far that would indicate that Lomachenko fight is going to be an easy for him. Comey is the highest level guy that he's beat. Comey is a very good fighter. In fact, Comey actually is based out of actually my neighborhood here in the Bronx. He's between here and between Don. There's a lot of Ghanaians in the part of the Bronx where I live. And you oftentimes see these guys fighting or training in the park near me, actually. Side note, Claude as well, a bunch of others. So, I don't know. Based on that, I don't really see him running through Lomachenko. What about you, David?
Man, I was with a lot of the folks about the whole. What's that guy's name again? Oh my God. The
Ukome or Nakatani?
Nakatami. There you go.
Yeah.
I thought that, I mean, D-Style here said hardly exposed dimensions were an issue, like 6 feet tall. But I thought that the Nakatami fight did show there's vulnerability there for him. If you can box him and make him kind of rethink what he's going to do next, there's an issue there. Lomachenko has the ability to kind of make you forget that you're in an actual boxing match. The only time I saw that, actually I saw him twice let me take that back. I saw him 3 times be a bit puzzled. But then he finally was able to put the blocks where they belong in the goal.
Linares was one. I was at that fight at the Garden, and he was troubling for a minute.
Troubling him a lot. Then there was Orlando Salido Siri, who beat him. And he didn't figure him out until like the 10th round, which is a bit too late, and he hurt him. Siri hurt Siri. Okay. And then the smaller guy, Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux was frustrating him. That it even led him to do some things that he normally wouldn't do, like punch in the back of the head. You saw that there was visual frustration from him.
And that's the point. And guess what Rigondeaux is fighting now? He wasn't even a natural 100 pounder, let alone a 130. He had no business fighting at that weight.
Right. Did it. So going back with Lomachenko, I think for both men, in my opinion, they're going to bring something that they have yet to see. The only thing that I think that edges with Teofimo Lopez is youth. And the fact he hasn't really tasted defeat. Lomachenko's tasted defeat. And it only made him a better fighter. Whether you accept what happened with him, with Orlando Siri, or not. Because, like ESPN, they want to erase that. They don't even bring it up. They didn't even want to put it up on the board the last time when he had fought Linares. Remember that? Like, they didn't even show that. So I think that with Lomachenko, it shows not just the level of his pedigree in amateur, but it shows the level of maturity that he has grown into the sport. And he now understands, and it's like that bit of fear of losing was kind of like taken away right away. It was a shot of medicine that you kind of, were scared of, you know what I mean? That little prick. And they'll be like, oh shit, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. That was what Lomachenko got. I think it's made him a better fighter. But what Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, what he's riding off of, it's not just that he's undefeated, but it's how he's been undefeated. I mean, the kid's a monster. But even better is that he's got a big cheerleader with him 24/7. His dad.
What, his pops?
His pops, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, when you got somebody in your ear 24/7. When I used to train my kids, when I used to train my son Tristan, I was in his ear 24/7. 27, man. It was like
your own 24/7 Boondini Brown.
Exactly. When you can make somebody believe in something so strong, okay, they'll go through the fire to get it. And Teofimo Lopez, man, you look at his eyes when he's focused and he's like on point. Even when he fought the Japanese kid, there you saw there was never like a lift of, never no sign of like discouragement.
No, there's no despair or discouragement. He was there until the end. Quick question for you, to get based on what you just said.
Yeah.
Don Lopez or Angel Garcia? Because they're both in their son's years.
I'm gonna say right just for right now, and the reason why I say Garcia is because Danny Garcia. Is because the fact that they dismantled the Machine, who was a guy that was almost in the similar status of KO and Monster, freight train status of Teofimo Lopez. That's where the Machine was, Lucas Matisse, and look how brilliant. They made him look so ordinary, and it
was a great fight.
Okay. Also, I mean, man, you got to give him credit what he was doing with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman was coming at him aggressive, and he was taking every shot. But then he made Keith Thurman get on the bicycle run and resemble Oscar De La Hoya in the fight with Tino Trinidad. If you don't like Danny Garcia, okay, I understand that. But you got to give that team credit. They've done a lot. They're good. They're a good duel.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know, I'm not going to take any credit away from Teofimo Lopez's dad. I think he's done a great job. I think because the fact, like I said, not only has he made his son believe, but he believes. And that makes a good mesh. Because, okay, think of Shane Mosley and Jack Mosley. That was never a good duel. They just weren't. And the reason was because Jack Mosley was always about Jack. It wasn't really about Shane. Everything that Shane did, it was because I did it for him, or I used to box too. If you ever like listen to his interview, I mean, I had a chance to meet Jack, and great guy and everything. But the first thing I got off him was like, damn, everything's about Jack Mosley. I don't get that sense with Angel and Don Lopez. I don't get that sense. What I get is that they have invested everything of themselves to develop what they believe is a perfect fighter. And it's, but as well as Lomachenko's dad, he's just more of a silent cheerleader. You know what I mean? But when he
It's a great point. It's versus son, dad versus dad. It's a fight.
Even Dave knows that Oscar was running from Tito. Oh, man. God, I was disappointed. No, going back with Lomachenko's dad, I honestly admire him. Not taking away anything away from the other two dads, but I like the fact that his dad is more of an old school traditional. He takes an old school stance, which is everything's about kid. But when you ask him about the regimens of training he done with his son, man, his face, like, it lights up. It's like Miguel Cotto. You ever try to talk to Miguel Cotto? And that guy looks so disinterested of anything about the sport. But talking about strategy, they're like, oh, okay, that touched me exactly where I needed to be touched. The orgasm face comes out. That's Lomachenko's dad. You could really, truly see he loves training his son. And he likes to kind of, show you that. But it's just a different type of cheerleader. So to me, this is a great fight, not just because both guys are in their prime, both guys have made their step in the sport, and both guys have their own separate cult following, but the overall story between the two, bro, it's beautiful. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you.
If it ever happens that night, it should make it to legendary nights the way HBO used to do it. They gotta have something like that, because to the lead up this fight, this is a great fight. I don't even know where to put it at. Like, what comparisons do we put it at? The four horsemen, at time in the 80s with Leonard Burns and Hagler and Duran. You could still throw Linares in the mix,
Yeah, but also Devin Haney and also Tank Davis.
Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. You could. That's it.
I'd like to see some fights. So this is a good one.
Yeah, I think out of all of them, like the Fury and Wilder, am I pumped up about it? I'm going to take it because you're going to give it to me. You know what I mean? But in reality, the Lopez, and I'm going to tell you why, because we've already seen them twice. Yeah, they were different fashions. Both were very exciting, though. But, it's something I can kind of like hold off on. I could hold off on the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. But for the Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez, man, that is just new ground that we haven't touched. I want to see that. Anyways, man, again, I apologize to everybody that couldn't take calls today. Like I said, it's my internet. It's now, so I can't blame Blog Talk this time. I wish I could. But it was glad to be back. We're going to be back on every Monday night here on Leaving the Ring, 5 p.m. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button and hit that little bell so that we're live every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It was great to see me and Emil Carr back as a duel, Batman and Robin. I don't know who you would Batman, or I guess I'll be Robin since the red shirt on. And
why don't you be Batman? I'll be the Joker.
There you go. All right, brothers. Wayne, thanks again for everybody tuning in. Until next time, you'll see me and Emil Carr, hopefully Kenny, back on the panel, and we'll talk boxing. I hope to see you guys next week here on Leave the Ring.
Thank you for participating on message board, and we'll hope to get you live on the radio next week.
Definitely. Yeah, that'd be nice, man. Everybody back on. Again, everybody, have a great night.